Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's session in the Get Unstuck series with myself, Sarah Archer. If you haven't been with me before, I am a career and leadership coach, and I run these sessions every 2 weeks, and they're very short and practical, 15 minutes long, to give you a little window in your week to think about your career, your leadership, your personal development, your career development, because I know it's very hard to find that time when you have a long to-do list, lots of demands on your time. So the sessions are always very practical. There's always something you can take away and implement straight away. And today's session is very close to my heart. I am really passionate about this topic. We all know the statistics. You know, you work for 92,000 hours in your life. So you want to make sure that they are counting and that you are enjoying them and you're feeling fulfilled, which is obviously what we're going to talk about today. If you are here with me live, it's always lovely for me to know that. So do pop a hello in the comments. Let me know where you are in the UK or overseas. I'm in a very chilly North London. I tell you, I am ready for spring. I know it's only January, but I am done with this weather. But anyway, hopefully the session today will fire you up and bring some warmth to the day, because it is a topic that is really important. And it is how to find more meaning in your leadership career, because often as we progress and we get more senior, sometimes we end up feeling a little bit flat. We can feel, is this it? Is this what I've worked all these years for? We can sometimes feel like we don't have energy and excitement and passion for our job anymore. And we kind of want to listen to those feelings, because it's good to be able to just press pause and have a moment to think about those questions, because they'll be helpful at helping you make decisions about what changes you need to make, or what you can redefine in your job, or what you can do to bring more meaning into your career. So the reasons that sometimes it can feel like it's disappeared can be, partly because as we, get pulled into delivery, we get pulled into, burdens of responsibility. We don't have that reflection time to kind of keep track of our why, why we're doing what we're doing and whether we're still aligned with what we're doing. And also, we can feel that achievement equals fulfillment. And often that cannot be the case. It can sometimes be, it depends what your motivations are, but sometimes it can feel kind of hollow. But there is a concept called the hedonic treadmill, which it means that we keep seeking out more and more things that feel like we've achieved something, because we get these spikes of pleasure when we take on a new job, when we get a promotion, when we achieve something in our career, we get recognition, we win an award, we get a pay rise, we get those sort of spikes of pleasure. And what tends to happen is that they don't last. They're quite short-lived, aren't they? You get a pay rise, you feel great, I love my job. And then 3 months later, all those things that were annoying you about your job or frustrating you kick back in. So we know those spikes of pleasure don't last. But the reason it's called a treadmill is because we then get sucked into wanting more. So we think, okay, right, I'm going to change jobs again, or I'm going to push myself and work really hard to get that promotion or to get that pay rise. And so we get stuck on that kind of treadmill, which means that we're not always making decisions that are right for us or that are aligned with our sense of meaning. The other things that can contribute to why meaning might feel more elusive or less tangible right now is that success metrics can change. So those could be external success metrics, so optics, targets, politics, but they could also be internal success metrics. So our career success definition when we started our career may not be our career success definition right now, later in our career. So often when we're earlier in our career, it's more about success, job title, position, benefits, those kind of things. But as we progress in our career, other things might kick in around autonomy, flexibility, authenticity. And so if we haven't paid attention to those success metrics, those internal success metrics, that can leave us feeling that things aren't as meaningful as we would want them to be. As I said, also less time for reflection and thinking about what is right for us. Plus, as I said, we've outgrown maybe the goals that motivated us earlier in our career. And also, when I'm working with people, which I often do around meaning in careers, they'll say things to me like, I'm so busy, I just don't have the time to think about what's next, which often leads to kind of knee-jerk reactions around next career choices, or I'm not sure if I'm on the right path still, which can lead to paralysis because I've worked so hard to get to where I am. What is the next thing for me, and can I do it? Or I can't remember the last time I felt energized and excited by my career. So all of those things can kind of kick in to make sure that to make us feel as though we're losing that sense of meaning. But don't worry, I'm going to introduce you to a framework of different lenses that you can apply to help you work out what would bring more meaning to you in your career at the moment if you're feeling you're not connected to meaning. And I mentioned this concept called the hedonic treadmill. I'm also going to now just introduce you to a concept which is called eudaimonic well-being, which was originally conceived by Aristotle, so it's been around for a long time. And it's this eudaimonic well-being is this deep sense of fulfillment from living a life that has meaning, that has purpose, that is aligned with our values and with our strengths and skills, and essentially is a good life. And if we have that sense of eudaimonic well-being, obviously that's going to have ripples through our career, through our life, because we're going to feel that we're just living this good life that has purpose, has meaning, has fulfillment. And so to help you, I'm just going to close my door because my daughter's about to start playing piano and the dog has pushed my door open. So to get that eudaimonic well-being, we need to pay attention to these 4 lenses to work out what is meaningful in our career. So the lenses are impact, alignment, agency, and growth. Now, you don't have to have all of those in place because meaning is very subjective. It's going to be different for everybody, but it's actually working out what gives you meaning at work. And then once you're understanding that, you can think about what needs to shift to bring more meaning into your current day-to-day leadership role. So impact is, who or what am I genuinely influencing? What difference am I actually making and to whom? And how does my company contribute positively in terms of impact? So that could be then, how am I making a difference, or how does the company that I work for make a difference? So I'll give you a little example of this. I was working with somebody who was a head of communications in financial services, and she was having a bit of a crisis around how was her work meaningful? Was she just helping to line shareholders' pockets? But when we sort of unpacked it, what we were able to see was that through her kind of communication team, she was able to produce information that was helpful to people who were making financial decisions and therefore contributing to their financial well-being. So she could reposition and reframe the work that she was doing and the work of the organization in terms of helping people make good financial decisions that would enable them to lead a good life because they were able to fund the lifestyle that they wanted. So impact is often a really big one for people. So it is thinking about what is the impact that I'm able to have. Then we've got alignment, which is around, am I using my strengths and using my values? Am I able to feel aligned with the work that I'm doing and the work that the organization is doing? Do my values chime with the organization's values? Then we've got agency, which is also really important, particularly as a leader. How much choice do I believe I have around what I do? And that could be around strategy, it could be around decision making, it could be around creativity, skills, judgment. But knowing that actually I have agency to make change happen, I can make decisions without having to refer to other people. I can choose how I use my skills. I can use my judgment to make sound decisions and contribute to the organizational development. I can develop strategy that will be aligned with my values, with my impact. These things are always interconnected. And fourthly is around growth. So do I still, even though I'm a senior leader, have the opportunity to grow, to develop, to learn new things, to feel valued by the organization for what I do? So thinking about those 4 lenses will help you work out maybe what is missing or what needs to be dialed up or reframed. And I'm going to give you some questions now to help you do that. So you could either think about these things or you could write them down. You might want to reflect on them. Depends how you like to work. But I've got some questions which will just help you then notice what's emerging in the answers. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how meaningful does your work feel right now? And I would just go with a gut of writing down that answer. Is it quite in the low parts, 1 or 2? Is it somewhere in the middle, 5 or 6? Is it higher, 8 or 9? And just see what that reveals for you. Then ask, which of the 4 areas is the weakest for me right now? So impact, alignment, agency or growth, what feels the weakest? And then you might want to explore that further. And then just ask yourself, what are you tolerating that is draining your sense of meaning? So, what are you kind of allowing to get in the way of your impact, agency, growth, and alignment? So what are you tolerating? So I would say just then reflect on what is emerging for you once you've asked yourself those 3 questions. And then just taking one small action that could be linked to one of those answers. So it might be deciding you're going to have a conversation that might be around renegotiating focus or impact or agency, saying no to something that's kind of a low value that might be draining you or that is taking you away from some of those areas that could give you meaning. Maybe reclaiming a strength that's going unused for you. So maybe it's about knowing that you have a real creative strength, but you're not being able to bring that creativity into your current job, and just thinking, how could I use more of that this week? So small actions, they don't have to be big. Because what I want you to kind of take away from this is that just because you might be feeling low meaning in your career at the moment, it doesn't mean that you have to change your career completely, because that isn't always the solution, because often you as a senior leader have more leverage than you realize. You can think about recrafting your role, you can think about recrafting your relationships or other areas to bring in more of what feels meaningful to you. And they're also recognizing that small shifts can compound quite quickly. So taking those small actions, just even thinking weekly, what's one small action that I could take that would make my job more meaningful, can actually have a compound effect quite quickly. So I would love to know what action you are going to take. So either you can pop it in the comments or you can message me. I would love to know what's the small action that you're going to take this week, because this isn't about blowing up your career. It's just about redesigning how you lead within it. And this is a lot of the work that I do with my clients, because success and fulfillment aren't mutually exclusive. You can be successful and you can have a meaningful and fulfilling career as well. And that's what I work a lot with my clients on, is how they can do that. So if that's something you feel you would want some help with, then, book in for a free 30-minute call with me, and we can just think about what is going on for you and how you can move forward so that you can combine both feeling successful in your leadership career and fulfilled in your leadership career. And I will put in the comments to that call if that is something that you feel would be helpful to you. And I will be back in 2 weeks' time with another topic. So have a great 2 weeks, and I will see you back here in 2 weeks.